Welcome to Super Happy Dragon Lucky. The show will begin momentarily.
Because that goal will serve to organize and measure the best.
Adaptable, all capital, label radical yet rational. A doctoral approach is palpable if this animal is fallible, but that conclusion is laughable. So with for all detachable from the mandible, you see it now.
All right, everybody, welcome to Super Happy Dragon Lucky, episode 68. It's the 105th episode. This week on Number Go Up, it is Ethereum, obviously. It went back down a tiny bit, right? But it's still up overall for the week. So good things there. Everything headed as we want, right? Next update, Den.Social updates. The August 2021 LCP proposal phase has begun. So go to the post in the layer creation process, LCP layer, and make any proposals that you might like. Also, review the last list. You can see what proposals are, in rank that you might be able to pop up and make them win or something. There will be again this month up to two winners. The top proposal in lore committed and the top proposal in the number of unique voters or committers. Both of those will be created. They could be the same one. It has happened before in the past. So take a look at them. There's some good ones in there, definitely. And I do think that there's room for some pretty good quality communities also. The commitment phase will begin in 1 week. All right. So that's all the updates. So this is AMA week. Once a month that we do the AMAs. So we'll be right back with the AMA. Thanks.
ディズニーが最初に開発し、その後スピンアウトし、オープンソースとなったドラゴンチェーンからドラゴンチェーン商用プラットフォームおよびドラゴンチェーンインキュベーターが登場。まず資産となるデータの保護に重点を置いているドラゴンチェーンプラットフォームを見ていきましょう。サーバーレス構造を用いた拡張性高いプラットフォームはスマートコントラクトの開発者たちが Java、Python、Node、C# など使い慣れたプログラミング言語で作り込まれるようパッケージ化されています。さらに全てのスマートコントラクトが Amazon AWS とその他の機能にフルアクセスできます。次はドラゴンチェーンインキュベーターを見ていきましょう。ドラゴンチェーンインキュベーターはブロックチェーンプロジェクトのローンチに必要なプロセスを標準化しました。では次にドラゴンチェーンの市場を見ていきましょう。暗号通貨、マーケティング、法律、ソフトウェア開発、採用といったあらゆる分野のスペシャリストたちが集まるエコシステムになっています。またこの市場には開発者たちが再利用目的で収益化したビルド済みのスマートコントラクタライブラリーも含まれています。最後に紹介するのがドラゴンチェーンプラットフォームとエコシステム全体の全てのサービスにアクセスするためのトークン化されたマイクロライセンスです。ブロックチェーンビジネスマジック用に設計されています。あなたも最も安全で柔軟性が高くビジネス仕様のブロックチェーンプラットフォームとエコシステムの一員になれます。10月2日、いよいよドラゴン発売開始。
All right, welcome back. By the way, that was an historical commercial. That was from October 2017. There is no token sale. Okay, so this is the segment that we do once a month where you can ask me anything. This month, we're starting something, and we'll probably give more details later about how we're going to roll it out a little bit more formally, but where you will get one lot for any reasonable question that is answered and it's not that I understand it, so there will be some cases where I might not be able to understand the question and can't answer it, but you can try again later. And so don't be upset if something like that happens, but we're going to try to get through all of them. And I have to cut off at the hour mark because I have meetings after. And, so if we don't get through all of them, that's the other side of it. And by the way, I will probably go and upvote all of these equally after we're done. I didn't get a chance to this morning. So anyway, Oxons in Dragonchain. This is see, I think this probably is an original question, but somebody tagged it as non-original. Tags, you guys have to tag stuff, right? And by the way, the Oxons didn't do this because they would have stars on them, I think. So someone else tagged it as non-original for whatever reason. Everybody should go in there and vote up. This is an original question. Anyway, first, by the way, the rules say one question. So normally we would disqualify this, but this time we're going to answer them all. But just so you, I guess, understand, you need one question per reply so that we keep it simple. Anyway, number one, the price table per transaction volume for customers was recently updated. It wasn't updated public, by the way. Can you give more information about it? How do the new changes affect the holder community or the node owners? It's actually better because at least, and I don't have them memorized, of course, the tables, but we did cut off a couple of the lowest pricings because we realized that they weren't, unless you had billions or even hundreds of billions of transactions, it didn't make a lot of sense. We had put those in there originally as somewhat so that we could answer the question of a system like Reddit, that, okay, we could theoretically do this for an extremely low transaction rate. And it would, I do still think, I'm pretty confident that it would be maintainable given the certain number of transactions, but it really, wasn't that great for node runners. So we did cut some of those off. And I think we reduced the number of them. And the reason that we did, if you give more information about it, the reason we did that was to make the sales simpler. That is, it's one thing to go in and try to sell an abstract new technology and a very counterintuitive, different way, novel way to use that technology, which is what Dragonchain is, to an enterprise customer. But then when you try to throw in time and you try to throw in the way that the verification network economy runs, it becomes too much. It's not necessary for the sales. So we basically we're trying to simplify that, and it's worked. We have a lot of success there. And there are some other questions here. I'll get to answer a little more about that later. Let's see here. In recent months, some team members have said there'd be a gigantic volume of transactions on DragonNet before the end of the summer. Can you give us more details? No. Will we see 10 million transactions per day soon? I don't know, right? That's up to customers. That's up to people building on Dragonchain. Oxons, go build something. Make 10 million transactions a day. That's how you'll get them. You could do that tomorrow. Yeah, literally, you could do that tomorrow. Sales team update. Can you give us can you tell us about a new country that you've recently had contact with? I probably couldn't without giving out too much info. So no. Let's see here. Next question. Vesna Vulovic. I asked these questions in the Telegram group and never got an answer. Let's see if I'm lucky. 1.2 thousand votes. So you're lucky today. How does Dragonchain solve the trilemma? One, how can it, let's see, I think I can number these right. How can it be trustless if the L1 nodes are private and I cannot verify the system rules or transactions? So, well, let's go through them all. Why have you never implemented a block explorer? And how can Dragonchain be fraud proof? Okay, so it's an interesting thing that we have a different model. We are not Ethereum, okay? We are not Bitcoin, right? The whole point of Dragonchain was to make a way for businesses to create something that they can still control the data. They can still, and this is for a business. This isn't for, oh my gosh, I have my concerns. I bought these coins and the government's watching me or something. This isn't what that's about. I mean, you can use it for several things there, for privacy protection and other things. But this is really about, how can I leverage this technology that's out there in a way that is valuable to a business, right? And so how can it be trustless if the L1 nodes are private? Because, and I wouldn't say it is trustless the way that a lot of crypto Twitter might want to call something trustless, which, by the way, even Bitcoin and Ethereum can't absolutely claim that because they aren't absolutely decentralized. they aren't absolutely trustless. They just happen to be. In fact, it's not even necessarily that they are more trustless than something like getting something printed in multiple national newspapers, right? And it is that they are measurably trustless. And that's something that we try to hit home all the time, that there is a measurable proof to a transaction on Dragonchain, even though it was never exposed when it was first created. That is, you can't look, and we've shown this before, where I will post a hash on Twitter just for fun, but there's some real data behind that hash that is stored on the blockchain somewhere, maybe eternal, maybe not, and that hash can later be shown. Okay, first of all, I can, and the main point is, even without the Twitter side of it, to kind of demonstrate how it works, that I can make a transaction happen today. I can hold it close to chest. And when it matters, when you come in and say, hey, Joe, I don't believe that you did XYZ, I can show you the transaction, and I can show you the myriad of other transactions that relate to it at that time. And you can independently have a measured proof that I'm not lying to you. You can say, oh, it's been 6 months, so there's basically $2 billion worth of energy approximate behind that transaction, and you independently can prove that without me having to convince you, and you can prove that it happened within that window of time, and you can prove that the data has not changed since it happened. So people will sometimes come to us and ask us about, well, what about data quality? What if you put it's crap in, crap out? That the way you get around that, and we have lots of very interesting IP on this, but you basically don't want a single transaction saying, oh, this analysis was green, that something was proper. What you want is the data from the analysis contemporaneously recorded. You want all of the information so that it's very obvious that it would be extremely expensive to fake that information, particularly information that you don't know the final outcome of in 3 months, 6 months, 12 months. So anyway, that's why it works, and that's the very interesting way that you can arrange these tools. And look into our even the demo, the very first demo of what we call provably fair contests. That is entirely based upon this concept that I can have a list of people, I can have all of these things in advance that I might not even expose, but I can prove to you after the fact that this is the arrangement, and this was the answer, and this is the result. Anyway, so why have we never implemented a block explorer? We have. But the interesting thing about Dragonchain is that every business node has its own chain. So they, if they want to, if there is a business need, can create a block explorer. We have code out of the box that can provide a proof report like what you get on the Eternal. But there's no need to crawl through those chains because all the evidence is on the first chain, and it's all crawled all the way up to Bitcoin and Ethereum. So, and how can Dragonchain be fraud proof? I mean, there are a lot of examples, but you can imagine if to protect against internal fraud at a bank, that they could send all of their transactions to a source, and you could do this with any blockchain, but the problem is those other blockchains don't have the interoperability, so they don't have the measurable proof. So you're trusting, this little chain all by itself, right? So, but one way or another, they can report in, and here's the real ledger. Here's what we really did with proof, right? So anyway, okay, next question. The crocodile. Where do nodes read a smart contract code? So this is just like any other blockchain, but it's a little more flexible. And there are some things that haven't been done that we've talked about, and we have even built some proofs of concept. But the main point is that a smart contract is on the chain itself. So the data that is run and all of the state that progresses over time on that blockchain includes the smart contracts. So the smart contracts can be versioned. The smart contracts can interact with each other. The smart contracts can act as their own oracle. There's some very interesting things that Dragonchain does that nobody else does. And we even have, for the more experimental side, that you can actually run, although you would still store them locally for the state proof, the proof that this smart contract version is the same as that smart contract version. But we do have even experimental uses where you can run smart contracts inside of PLSQL in a database, right? So it'd be right on top of the data, more efficient, cleaner, whatever else. But and that's because Dragonchain, being hybrid, is able to run any code as a smart contract. You know, we can basically, even if you only have the executable, you could put the executable on chain and run it against a new transaction, or when a new transaction comes in, record the state is recorded on the way in, the state is recorded the result of the output of the smart contract. So you can run it anywhere, but generally on that same chain. Jacob Wayne, what's your method for checking to see if denizens have replied to your posts? Do you periodically click on one of your posts and reply and replies to see if anyone has commented like I do? Okay, so this is, and we're going to improve this, right? But I'm going to pull up my screen real quick here and show you. Whoops, sorry, I'll do it. Sorry, we have two people doing this. So I'm going to show you here, and I actually need to throw this over. So if you look over here, you will see this little badge, and you have it in both mobile and web. And yes, we do need this to be improved, because right now, you know, somebody thumbs up, right on, right? Easy crypto. But what we really need is notification of a thread interaction. If somebody replies anywhere to that thread, and then the ability to mute it, things like that. And, you know, we'll get some of that stuff in there in time, but that's the best way. The other is when we get the mobile out, it'll be helpful because it does actually give you notifications, you know, mobile notifications that somebody's replied. So there's some things there we need to do, but see here. Yes. Okay. So next question, rap music. Are there any developments, D-Chain, I think you mean Dragonchain, but I don't know that, or other friends in the industry working with or looking into anything revolving around the two subjects, virtual reality plus blockchain? So if I understand you correctly, we have way back in the past talked to groups that were doing both VR and AR augmented about things that should be done and can be done. They never went anywhere. They were very, very early groups. A couple of them were even university groups. We have also talked about the potential to do something with Decentraland. I at least in the past was a big fan of Decentraland, but I don't know anybody there, so we don't have any actual plans to do anything. And you know, we're always open to it. We're very interested in that, but you know, the technology is, you know, it's getting there and it's getting pretty cool. But more than anything, I would say we'd probably be interested in the gaming side that could venture into VR. But yeah, anyway. Okay. Goose Creek Unlimited. Can you give public examples, new potential of clients that Dragonchain tech can see on how Dragonchain secures supply chain and data management proof? I don't think we can give public examples, and the reason is, and so I want to make sure that I have a good answer for you here, but that supply chain is a pretty radically complex subject that, you know, Dragonchain itself won't have, at least, you know, for the time being, it won't have what I would consider a supply chain product. It is an integration product that we can basically meld into a supply chain and provide, you know, what we call, you know, line of sight, where you can see everything about your data, and you can even do all of the other things that we talk about. You can reward the people inputting the data, or you can award the people who are interacting with the systems. It could be even a truck driver or the person who inspects the cargo when the ship arrives, that type of stuff, that you can influence their behavior, you can make sure that the data is more accurate. You can, but the big thing is visibility. So, you can, if you wanted to show someone, and you'd have to put it in context. You'd have to, make sure they understood the scope of it, that you can show them eternal, and you can show them that a transaction placed on eternal is very fast, nearly immediately has measurable security value, and that it's, it is something that they can at least understand, that, they could do this billions of times. And that's what we've done. And it does work. They do understand that. And there are very unique features that I would say, first of all, we're the only ones that are touting them. No one else is telling anybody about these. And also that we're in some cases the only ones that can actually do what we're talking about at any scale. So we're well positioned, and we have a lot of groups talking about this in various industries, various I'm not going to get into any of the details of that, but that's what I would say. So it's not something we can demo, but it is very much something that you have to realize. We built a platform, and occasionally we will build demos that literally will demonstrate a capability, right? And it could be a very core capability of Dragonchain, but a lot of times, as in the case of, like, say, Den, the primary reason we built Den was because we saw a need, no one was filling it, and it was a very good demonstration of the things that can be done with Dragonchain. And I could get into, if let me think here, if this is a good place to get into it, that with human psychology, whether you're talking about an enterprise or whether you're talking about single user, that you typically have to show them something before they think it's possible. Once they see it, it's second nature. It's like, oh, of course that's possible. I saw it, right? Before that, it's almost like you have this giant wall there that's impossible. I read articles on CoinDesk and Cointelegraph, and they tell me that this is not possible, that we are not in the age of scalable blockchain yet, blah, blah, blah. So anyway, that's what they're there for. And if you were asked how they do this, just have them come and talk to us. I mean, we can tell them how, we can tell their technical people how, if they want. So, okay. Oh, okay. Lawn nodes. Could we, and this is a reply, but I think it maybe wasn't supposed to be a reply to that. It's all right. Could we somehow add Dragon to Den.Social? Let's say we buy offsite, but we wanted to move that Dragon into our Den wallet. Could there be some function benefit to holding Dragon in Den.Social wallets? Maybe some sort of shard effect. I don't know what you mean by that, but we had a long time ago expected to include Dragon in the tokens that people could tip each other in Den.Social. So that would probably be there later when we get Matter tipping and other things built in. We probably would add Dragon to it. I would like that. It'd be good. The other thing that is coming is farming / DeFi, whatever you want to call it. And there will be a Dragon component to that. And I think there's another question we get into detail there. Next question. Let's see here. Do you expect time to become a sought after commodity? And can you elaborate on any plans Dragonchain has for its use in the future? For example, how CTLC was intended. So let's say, and everything about Dragonchain is about positioning ourselves for what we think is coming. And this is the question you have to ask yourself. And then I can answer for myself personally, right? You have to ask yourself, is blockchain actually valuable? Yes or no, right? I think it's pretty obvious. Is the core blockchain technology valuable to a business, an enterprise business, let's say? Then you have to ask yourself, is blockchain technology potentially valuable even to small businesses and startups, okay? then you have to ask yourself, are there unique capabilities that blockchain could provide beyond payment networks or store of value, maybe, right? Or fully decentralized smart contract interactions. So you're talking about Bitcoin. Let's say Bitcoin Cash for payments, let's say, and others, right? Bitcoin for store of value, or Ethereum for smart contracts, right? Is there value beyond those three things, right? And I think even with the maximalists and all the people with yellow pants that go on and on and on about Bitcoin is the only one and it's the only thing, and you guys are all bastards for thinking otherwise. That we're sinners for thinking that there are uses, for thinking that the Earth actually revolves around the sun. That we are sinners for that great sin. So you have to think. If there is, and I think a majority of the industry would have to believe this. I mean, the NFT crowd would have to believe it. The people who do decentralized storage have to believe it. That there's obviously use and utility that is needed in the world, provided by this technology. And then you have to think, what are the things that haven't been built, right? What are all the things that, and you could go back to the ICO craze of 2017, all of the ventures or projects that didn't go anywhere. Some of them had good ideas. They just poor execution, or they never intended to execute, who knows? But you have to think about it. Everything we're doing is based on that potential. And it was my task as a software architect, literally, to build a system that was made to make it possible to answer those questions, right? Where you could come in as a startup with an idea and you could build something on Dragonchain today that not only would work, but will scale. So if it actually takes off, if you are right about the position in the market and you're right about the timing, that if you get the crazy adoption, that you would be able to handle it, and that you would actually be able to leverage all of these capabilities, and probably more important, that you would be able to flexibly pivot when you realized that, oh my gosh, there's this new chain over here that I could plug in and do this extra thing that would really make my project take off. That's what it's for. So if you think that, then you would have to think, okay, time is the commodity that you really need to make that a doable thing. And we're in this, and everybody knows this, right? We're in this period where we have adoption, but we don't have the extreme adoption yet, right? We have adoption to the level of, there are a good number of transactions on chain, right? Sometimes they are not absolutely consistent as much as others, but that's business. But we have multiple things running into them. Every single one of these projects where you talk about Den, you talk about Eternal, you talk about some of the archival stuff going on. There are a lot of projects that are using Dragonchain. And if we put those all together and you realize what could be, okay, but we're right in that middle area where we're kind of we're like, obviously we put the time in for Den, right? We have arrangements with some of the sales groups that we're probably going to facilitate some of the time as long as we can. But at some point, it's going to be something that we don't have enough time to cover. And so at that point, yes, and we've talked about it in the past, there is a plan, but can I elaborate on it? Yes, but will I know? Because I know how you guys are, and I'm not going to say something that you guys are going to come back and say, oh, you said this, and we expected it next month. So, you're going to expect it before the end of the year. I'm not going to tell you. But when it happens, I'm confident that you will be happy and you will appreciate that I didn't tell you now and that it's a surprise. So anyway, but it's good. And I think some people, the smarter among you have already kind of hit a lot of the main points. So, and there are a lot of you out there that, are really good at that. So anyway, Dayrox, when DeFi on Dragonchain, hello Dayrox. So if you mean decentralized finance, there's some aspects of it now, but the main part, I think, that you probably are talking about would be farming, for example. And our first rollout of that, and we'll probably have this, well, I know we will, as a product. We're already talking to some groups that are wanting to use what we're building. That we have a very flexible, very transparent, with governance and everything else, model for farming that is very novel, and basically seeks to improve security by taking some of the risk out of the smart contract, that there might be a mistake on a staking smart contract and everybody could lose not only the token that the project is defining, but also Ethereum or other separate tokens that are, have real value as well. And so we've talked about the details of it, but it's basically that any claimed wallet in the Den, in your Den account, will be eligible for these farming pools. And we are going to do a matter, of course. There's a lore farming component, and there will be a dragon component in there, as well as liquidity for all three of those. And the liquidity pools are going to be bigger, of course, because there's skin in the game and everything else. But they are for simplicity going to be some lockings for utility purposes, and that literally is on purpose. That we want any farming activity to not be a speculative activity. We want it to be for utility. So if you're not interested in actually using Den, then probably isn't going to be very valuable to you. But if you want to use Den and you want to build real matter value, then the farming should be a really lucrative, powerful thing for you. And what we have done with the model is nearly eliminated fees. There are a couple of things you still have to do on the Ethereum side, but like the signing and everything else is totally without fee. And that is it's in development right now. I don't know the timeline. I'm hoping to get it out this month, but we'll see, right? I'm not going to project anything because I haven't even asked the devs for certain, but we've been talking about it for a while and we had to put it off for other reasons, but it's on its way. So get your popcorn ready. And I think I answered this question in the last one, so we will count it. Can you stake any of the following? Matter, Dragon, Lore, or Lot? Is there any synergistic effects of owning multiple in this ecosystem? Ooh, we haven't defined that. That's a good question. Okay, so first of all, yes, Matter, yes, Dragon, yes, Lore. We are going to have the liquidity pools for each of those also in there, separate pools. Separate staking pools for the liquidity pool tokens. Lot, I think we do have a pool for Lot as well. I'd have to look, but I'm pretty, yes. In fact, I remember the devs they even looked that it's only on claimed wallets, and the Lot, for various reasons, because it's NFT, we might make internal only, but we haven't absolutely decided that. So it's anything that you are actually using in the system, which once you take the Lot out of the system to sell it on OpenSea, we can't see it anyway. At least we can't tie it to you as easily. Now, synergistic effects. We haven't even talked to this about anyone. We could theoretically give you bonuses on combinations. That if you all three, or what to think about that? That's actually a really decent idea to think of. Maybe we'd have separate pools so it wouldn't affect people who are, the guy of my Matter. Because what we really want is for people. Let's say you come from, let's say you have no wealth. You're an of age younger person in a country that isn't wealthy. You could theoretically come in, and we're working on various parts of the identity side to make sure you don't cheat at all. But you could come in and create good content and become this amazing valid evaluator of content. You just know what is good content, let's say. So you earn matter. And you don't have anything else. You don't have the ability to go out to Uniswap and buy more matter or buy lore, or, get a piece of the pie with one of the layers, let's say. So with this, the beauty is you take that matter and you don't go and sell it off because you believe in the system. You leave it in your account, and now you get lore in your account. So now with your lore, you can go and you can buy a lot in one of the LCPs, one of the layer creation processes, and now you own a piece of one of these communities. Now you can start trading the lot. We're gonna have some stuff on the inside where you can later even trade the lot, so that the communities can get better distribution. So it won't be, and a lot of the communities already have really good distribution with like 50 members and stuff, but 50 owners, I should say, and hundreds of subscribers. But you imagine if we can make it possible for someone, anyone or anywhere in the world, to do what the algorithm wants, and actually end up with the ownership and then building up this value, we will have succeeded. And that's what we're really, looking for. So, having multiples of those would be pretty valuable. So I like the idea. All right, we'll talk about it. Chad, and we're only at 36 minutes. We're probably gonna make it through all of these. What organizations can use blockchain technology? So for this one, it's in my opinion, it is usable by any organization. I think anybody who has customers, even if it's totally private data, even if it's something that will never be exposed, in my opinion, they should be putting any user interaction, and especially any inter-system interaction should be on chain, in my opinion. So that, and it's not even just, I don't trust somebody, I'm going to put this on here, so they can't say that I lied or something. It isn't that. Honesty is a big part of it. Transparency is a big part of it. Even for the supply chain stuff, the ability for an entity on the other side of the world to put something on chain that a manager on this side of the world can see and have some measure to the validity and accuracy, quality of that data, is a powerful, powerful thing. And they don't have that right now. Most systems don't have that at all. Most systems, something breaks 3 weeks later, and you go, well, holy crap, what happened? And now you have to call 24 people to get to the bottom of it, which takes you 4 months. And literally we've spoken to some of them, many organizations where they spend millions of dollars trying to track down a system issue because it's systemic, it's repeated, it happens so often, yet there's so many different types of them that it becomes a very complex thing. And instead of trying to incentivize good data up front, they are tracking down bad data after the fact when the customer's pissed off, and it basically costs them a ton of money to do it. So that's one case. The other pattern would be that I want, and I guess part answer to that is, if you put all of those interactions on chain, you can roll back the clock. And even if I can't see all the transactions on that business's chain, it's a very simple thing to roll back and say, well, the reason this broke is because there's this edge case of an edge case of an edge case that happened to have, the state of the system can be known at that time in history, and you can pull it out. You can pull it all out and figure out the real cause of the issue. So anyway, so any business. All right, Matter Jesus on Dragonchain. Does Dragonchain have any play to earn games that they have out or working on, or that they recommend? I have no time to play games. Most of the team does not have time to play games. I don't know that really. Now we do have, interactions with a couple of gaming studios. I know of one that is working on something that I think I was supposed to wait 2 or 3 months, and they're going to have some. They came in and asked about some very particular things about the economy and what was possible, and it's awesome. I gave them some some ideas that I think would be amazing to see. And so that's one. It's a hard thing building a game, I'm sure. I've not built one, but I've talked to a lot of people that have. And the thing I would like to see, frankly, is better economies and better usability for normal people with using crypto inside of games. So hopefully those are coming. But when everything takes off, I mean, that's always on my plan that we'll probably start up a studio or something, because we have a lot of ideas that we could plug in. And I don't know if it'd be product toolkits for video game companies, or it'd probably be the same thing. You'd have to probably end up making some yourself so people can understand how it could be used. So anyway, Jags, in one of the World Blockchain Roundtable episodes, you mentioned that I used to send Bitcoin to people to show them how it worked. Do I regret that now with the current price? And how much would that Bitcoin be worth today? I have very smartly not gone back. I'm going to answer these backwards and checked how much that would be worth today. But I'm not too worried about it. It is the same thing that a lot of other people have said. If you look at Gavin Andreessen and others. Let's just say others who built the faucets back in the day. I mean, I took money from those faucets back in the day. It was like, oh, I could go get some teeny. I can't remember how many satoshis it was, but you could get free Bitcoin back then. So I would do it. And the funny thing is, probably the best case was when there would be a company, Christmas event where people, Secret Santa stuff, right? That it was a very nerdy thing, especially back then. But I would basically print up, if you've seen the meme where it shows how many groceries you could buy for $100 in 1970 or 1980 or maybe in 1990, and then how many you could buy today for $100, and then you show $100 worth of Bitcoin, and maybe it wasn't 1990. It was after Bitcoin started, right? And then they show how much you could buy with Bitcoin at that time, and it wasn't even. I think Bitcoin at that time was probably in the thousands. It wasn't in the tens of thousands. And it was always my thing. It's like, hold this. And it was a paper wallet. I even bought the there's a little device that was it was one of the projects that you could just give money to, and they send you this device. It's the people that made the Mycelium wallet, and it's an advanced paper wallet printer. You just plug into your printer, and it prints paper wallets with special features, really cool stuff. So one way or another, I would do that. I would give demos to our employees at a former company, and anybody who showed up would get like it's either $30 or $50 worth of Bitcoin, and Bitcoin is probably worth $200 or $300 then, right? So you probably think through that. But at the time, it's like, well, this is dollars, and I didn't like take Bitcoin that I had bought to hold. I just went and bought Bitcoin for that occasion and sent it to them, right? So it's cool, but it's worth it. You have to do that. You have to get people to see how unique it is, and the first time you do that, it's such a mind opening, because it's like, wait a minute, nobody can stop this. This just came to me. It's sitting on my machine here. It's just recorded against my keys. It's crazy. So, Jared with a topic. Sorry, Jared. This is post that into World Blockchain Roundtable. By the way, go to World Blockchain Roundtable. Make sure you add some topics, questions. I haven't looked in the past couple of days to know how many there are. So in 2 days, World Blockchain Roundtable, and make sure you vote on them so we can see what you guys want answered, right? What topics, what interesting things, because you guys are really good about bringing the right stuff up. So Earth Dragon, how many types or records are present in the blockchain database? Thanks for the education. I'm not absolutely certain what you mean, but if you're talking about different types of transactions or different types of data on Dragonchain itself, There are numerous. I don't know all, obviously, because there are a lot of projects that use Dragonchain that I have no visibility into at all. Some of them haven't even ever talked to me. We occasionally get questions from people that I didn't even know were using the system, from pretty big companies that I'm like, oh, that's crazy. They're doing that. So, I mean, I can say we have multiple, PDF documents, like say wills and things like that are on the database. We have very esoteric, data from inside of systems that wouldn't mean anything to anyone else. There are security records on there. There are predictions on there. There's obviously content from Den.Social. Every single thing, your question itself is on the blockchain, right? So the tags for that mark the question, the votes that evaluate the question, and the marketplace that determines the consensus of the evaluation is all on the blockchain for Den alone. So there's a lot of a lot of variety there, right? So, Y'all Weird, who, by the way, the commercial that started this, and I never give him enough credit, I don't think, because I don't think it's possible to give him enough credit, that he wrote that whole song for us for that commercial. And you can get it. I mean, it's amazing. And I mean, I was very impressed. And it was basically, I said, okay, here's kind of what we're wanting. And he just blew it away. It was amazing. So thank you, Y'all Weird. So anytime you see Y'all Weird, vote him up because he deserves it. Okay. All right, there you go. So question, is it possible? See, there you go. See, Jojo himself will vote it up. Is it possible to mint my own NFTs on Dragonchain easily? If so, I'll answer that first. It is possible. Easily, yes. Now, that means if you're a developer. And what we're working on, and we're working with an outside group. We actually have a partnership with a group building a platform to make it easy for a regular user without coding, without doing anything special, and with all the features you would expect for a platform with potential integration into Den and other things. So, and it's funny, we keep getting new groups interested in it that we are sometimes, if it's strategic, bringing them into the project. Otherwise, other times they are giving us feedback on what they want in the platform. So it will be. So I have to apologize that it isn't yet. I would have hoped it would be, but it's building a system like that's not ever simple. So if so, what would I need to build in order for others to do this themselves in a frictionless manner without OpenSea, Rarible, etc.? And that's it. We need a platform with a user interface. Anybody literally can come in, and in fact, we will offer up. We have some standards in various levels of development for NFTs, internal, and that ensure the ability to make them interoperable with Ethereum, as an example, if you wanted. Some people don't even want that. Some people are wanting a totally inert NFT system. Others are wanting something that can get them away from the horrendous Ethereum fees that occasionally rear an ugly head. But we're building that, and hopefully, we should probably talk to you so that because, like, say, your albums. And by the way, I have lots of ideas for what I would say, which you already know a lot about, but I think there's some novel things you could do with audio tracks, number one, and with the other thing would be memes that consider both audio and video. But there's some cool stuff we could do. So anyway, next question, and we're at 49 minutes basically. What share of the market do you think the digital fortress will be protecting in 1, 5, and 10 years from now? I can't answer that really. I mean, I would say positioning again. You decide for yourself. That is a speculative activity that I wouldn't want to get into. But that blockchain itself, everybody knows. Even the McKinseys and the Gartners of the world and the Forresters of the world know that market share is coming. That there is an actual real value in this technology, and yet most of them are unaware, or sometimes, I probably can't remember the phrase, but sometimes they are wantonly unaware. They don't want to know that it's possible yet because they're waiting for their bags projects to be able to do what they think is necessary. And we already know what is necessary, and we already know that most of them. And by the way, it's not because of the technology. It's not because of the developers. It is literally, in my opinion, take this for what it's worth. It is because of the model itself, the structure itself, that will basically disallow, barring any major hackery, a lot of the other chains to compete with scalability. And some of them will cut corners, try to make shortcuts by not storing all the data that they should in order to actually provide the value, which is a huge loss. It's what, in my opinion, with Hyperledger, that rather than trying to solve the issue of protecting business data, they just lopped off that corner and said, "Oh, all private. Banks will trust if it's all private. It's good," but they totally lost the value of having it on a blockchain, and not entirely, but 90% of it. And so, that's the real question, and I think we have that answer. So, and with Digital Fortress, combining it with the encryption tech from Aquid is a massive increase in value, because whether you consider it just for the actual value of what's how it's used, but it's also the way that sometimes we're getting in the door. So it's a huge thing for us. Okay, let's see here. Dragonchain Hodler. All right. Inspired from the conversation, Joe, and this is a book, Joe and Jared were having about potentially recreating the Donald, _Donald, which was banned by Reddit, despite one of the most popular layers ever. To piggyback off that question is, could any particular layer, let's say the Donald, have its own tokenomics ecosystem? This is a good question. Maybe run off of a different crypto, or have a different kind of incentive reward to help build something strong, consistent, geared towards getting people in, adoption, basically. Many who will always remember when Reddit said, we don't care. This is the most popular Reddit. Your opinion doesn't matter. You're too stupid to realize you're choosing to follow a certain subject or person or forum is wrong. And I could rant about the Donald that it was eye-opening to many people. And if you look, I've seen many people who are, they're not political people, but they do care about freedom of speech. They do care about individual rights. And that's what this technology is about. It's not about politics. It is literally about liberty from its foundation. It is a system that people can use in an objective way without interlopers, the powers that be. Whether in Bitcoin it's the bankers, with Ethereum it was the VCs. It's disruptive, but it's powerful for individuals, which is my opinion. That's why it's so valuable when on the cryptocurrency speculation side. But as to the Donald, there are some things that happened in there that most people don't know about because the press didn't report them. But it is the most bizarre activity by the CEO of Reddit at the time, or the founder. I don't know if he was CEO or not at the time, but where he had edited info, which led to all these even legal issues, that if somebody threatened something on there, are they really liable? Because it could have been edited, right? That if the CEO of Reddit can go in and edit the database, how true is anything I'm reading here? Did this person really say this thing? Did they really say this good thing or this bad thing? And on top of that, when they censored the Donald, and by the way, that's the reason, and I don't want to get too much into politics, but everybody knows where I stand, that I wasn't even paying, I'm a libertarian guy. I wasn't even paying attention to the Donald or any of that, except when I saw that they were changing Reddit's algorithm to hide it or to suppress it from getting on to the front page in a fair way, like every other subreddit would. I went and looked, right? And that's what actually thought, I thought the stuff going on in there was hilarious. And so, I became an active member, and then they blew it away. And then they blew away multiple private groups after it and multiple offshoot groups after it. And it was just like, okay, they just don't want people here. So why are we here? Because there's no alternative, right? You can't go to Twitter. Twitter, you look at the people that Twitter's banned in the past couple of years. It's absurd. You look at Facebook. You can't even say certain things on Facebook without being banned or getting some mark. And now you have the government wanting Facebook and Google and Twitter to actually ban all of our accounts if you say something that is against what the government says. And you ask any person in the 1980s or 1990s when I grew up, liberal, conservative, Republican, Democrat in the US, that would have been treasonous to say that has been said in this past few months here, that it's extremely important. We aren't a purely decentralized, when I say DEN, it's not a purely decentralized network. It is a hybrid network, but the decentralization is in governance, and the decentralization is in the people who hold layer ownership tokens for the DEN governance layer, that those people have a decentralized governance activity at the human level, not at the smart contract level inside of Ethereum, right? It is literally, these changes, and we want to expand, and we're taking steps every month to expand that, to make it more and more decentralized. So one way or another, that was a big picture of it. But yes, the end goal of DEN is to make it possible for any layer through governance. The layers themselves will have their own governance, so that you'd be able to make your own decisions based upon the community's wishes, and that you would be able to institute what I've always called smart contract-based bots. So it'd be a smart contract bot. So literally you would write a smart contract on Dragonchain following a certain API, certain interface, and you'd be able to do anything you wish, right? At least within legal bounds. And, there are some things that the system can do as a whole, but we do even have cases where, let's say your local government doesn't want you to do something. Let's say you're in Hong Kong, right? We want the ability for you to host your own, so it couldn't be shut down, or to change the way it's hosted, so DEN isn't hosting it. And there might be various levels of trade-off that you might not participate in the economy. It might be a private layer. It might be some things like that, because everything has to be transparent for the other users to know the economy is fair. So there are a lot of it's not an easy thing to do, but we have a model for it. And we know certain parts already work. We already have private layers for businesses that are being used, and they do work, and they don't participate in the economy. So people, there's nothing being hidden from you when you're mining matter or anything. But the great thing about it is, yes, you could have your own token economics. We already have a couple that are already doing this with LOT. You look at the World Blockchain Roundtable layer; it's already doing that with LOT, and it is. I would at least consider it. That is its own tokenomics, its own model for how to incentivize people to ask questions and provide topics, and how to incentivize the co-hosts to come on the show. And we also have things like this right here, where we're incentivizing you for asking this question. You're going to get a layer ownership token for the Dragonchain layer. Same type of thing. But yes, if you had a separate token, it would be doable to integrate it into the economy. Sorry, it's a long answer. Sorry about that. Anyway, is that the last? No. Okay, good. All right. Well, oh, shoot. It's I'll see if I can get through one more. Angel Breaker. Will Dragonchain make another public performance demonstration due to the progression in performance, energy consumption monitoring, etc., to draw more public attention, like the Guinness World Record for most transactions on a blockchain one day? I don't expect that yet. Let's just hope that we beat whatever that, if Guinness even tracks that. Let's hope we beat that with real adoption with a real customer. So that's it. We're 59 minutes. We still have to cut out. So make sure you come back next week, and make sure you like this video and comment, subscribe, everything else, and share it. Please share it. Come back again on Thursday for World Blockchain Roundtable, and let's just finish up there. I have a meeting. Sorry, Lothar, I cannot ask the last questions. I have a meeting coming. So But anyway, thanks a bunch, guys.
But why, some say, the moon? Why choose this as our goal? And they may well ask, why climb the highest mountain? Why, 35 years ago, fly the Atlantic? We choose to go to the moon. We choose to go to the moon in this decade and do the other thing. Not because they are easy, but because they are hard. Because that goal will serve to organize and measure the best of our energies and skills. Because that challenge is one that we're willing to accept, one we are unwilling to postpone, and one we intend to win. We choose to go to the moon.